Harvo, what's going on? And Richie.
How goes it? Good to be here.
Hey everyone.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, guys, so Richie and Harvo, could you guys introduce yourselves really quick to give our audience an idea of what your roles are?
Yeah, sure. I'm Harvo with AWS. I've been with AWS for about 12 years. I'm a software engineer, and I've spent a lot of my time helping traffic served from AWS make its way out to the internet successfully. So all around connectivity, as well as monitoring. And if you've ever used services such as CloudFront or Global Accelerator or Route 53, a lot of my fingers are in those services as well.
Wow. Great. Richie?
Hey everyone, I am Richie. I am Senior Product Manager for Amazon CloudWatch Internet Monitor. I'm excited to be here on air and talk about our new launch. And to add to what Harvo said, he's also been the person behind Internet Monitor.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so we know CloudWatch, that's one of the typically a very early on service that people learn about with AWS. But, well, let's start there, actually. Can you give us a brief overview exactly what Amazon CloudWatch is?
Yeah, Amazon CloudWatch is the native observability platform in AWS with the primitives of logs, metrics, and traces that you can use to monitor your resources and application in AWS. You can alarm on these, generate custom dashboards, and you can even publish events on which you can automate some actions. So today we are going to talk about CloudWatch Internet Monitor, which is a new feature within Amazon CloudWatch.
Gotcha. Jillian, I got a question for you. How do you explain the difference between CloudWatch and CloudTrail to people that you talk to? Really quick. Didn't want to interrupt.
Ooh, I think that's a good one. I mean, CloudTrail really is logging. Any API call, really, you got to use CloudTrail to be able to log it and look at those logs. CloudWatch, you're monitoring your dashboards of what's going on with your application. And I'm glad that you said that because I literally just had a conversation with a startup where they were planning the launch of their app and they didn't have any monitoring. And I was like, are you using CloudWatch? And they're like, what's that? So I'm sure there's some people here who are in that same boat. So I mean, I definitely suggest using CloudWatch, and I think specifically CloudWatch Internet Monitor, which is so interesting. So Harvo, tell us more about it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I know Richie just mentioned CloudWatch Internet Monitor. We're adding this capability to the suite of capabilities within CloudWatch. It's interesting to keep in mind all the stuff that's offered within CloudWatch today.
Yeah.
So you have X-ray for traces. You have real user monitoring for statistics from your client-side applications. You have Service Lens for this overall view. So I really think Internet Monitors is a compelling addition to the whole family of products. Richie, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so CloudWatch Internet Monitor is the feature of CloudWatch that actually helps you to monitor the internet availability and performance matrix between your AWS hosted application and the application end users. It helps you quickly visualize the impact of the issues, pinpoint locations, and identify providers that are impacted so that you can improve your end user experience. We'll spend the next few minutes to learn more about the product through a demo.
Yeah, what's interesting is when you think of CloudWatch, you think of monitoring an application, but Internet Monitor is going to allow customers to monitor that connectivity, like exactly where are there, just like X-rays used to kind of measure time constraints between API calls. Internet Monitor is going to, I imagine, kind of show you where there could be some internet latencies. Is that right, Harvo?
Yeah, if you think about an application running on AWS that's servicing end users that might be in a few cities across the world, or might even be globally distributed. In that sense, as an application owner would probably want to get their head around what is the experience of my end users, and where is that experience degraded? Since the global sort of that dispersion of traffic, it could be so wide, it can be really hard. It can be really hard to get your head around it, and we've tried to make that simple to visualize with Internet Monitor.
You think, oh, the general latency of a customer to my website is this many milliseconds. But what is it in New York? Customers in New York or customers in Atlanta, are they having different latencies? Is this is what the Internet Monitor is going to show us?
You've got it exactly right. So not only is it round trip time from a given city toward your application in AWS, or a given state or country. So we share all those higher aggregations with you. It's also a measure of availability. So if there's a certain amount of packet loss or lack of connectivity, we'll surface that through Internet Monitor as well. Also, we aggregate that up into an overall experience score. So you as an application owner don't have to get your head around all the different experiences from all the different cities that I'm serving. You just have to get your head around this one line. My score, is it 100% or is it lower than 100%?
Yeah, can you give us some details on how this works? Like, how does it measure these connectivity issues from different cities or different areas of the globe?
Yeah. Probably to start with, for how it works, I would say I've been working on CloudFront myself since 2011, and us, a group of engineers trying to run this global service that's talking to the internet, it was a really big challenge to get our heads around what the experience is of our end users. We've had to figure this out ourselves, and so we've taken that experience and built systems internally that help us monitor CloudFront, Global Accelerator, and this product here. So what we're doing, our source of data mainly comes from two sources. Within AWS, we're probing the internet. We're probing the reachable addresses, IPv4, IPv6, and we're keeping track of the round trip time for a packet to reach a destination on the internet and come back. But then we also, as Amazon, we have a number of devices client side that are interacting with our services. So we can bring those two experiences together. So we have those two sources of data. Then what we do is, so since AWS is serving a wide swath of the internet, we know that a given customer who's talking to a few specific cities, they're not going to be interested. For example, if they're serving clients in Buenos Aires, they're not going to be interested in internet weather in Tokyo. So we take the wide swath of measurements that AWS has, and we pare that down to the folks that you're talking to, that your application is talking to. So we're trying to get rid of all the noise for you. And then on top of that, we then look at the percentage of your traffic that's experiencing a given degradation. If 5% is degraded here and everything else is successful, we know that your overall experience score is 95%. So we take this large amount of data and reduce it all the way down to this one line for you.
I think your dog wants to see a demo. That's why it keeps barking.
Richie, can you help out?
Yeah, let's get started. So for those watching, we can do it together. Setting up a monitor is super simple. So to get started, we'll go to CloudWatch console, go to application monitoring, and look for Internet Monitor. We went live on 27th February. So the first step is to click Create Monitor and give the monitor a name. Let's call it Test. Next, we are going to specify the resources. So you can choose virtual private cloud, CloudFront distributions, or workspace directories. Let's pick a couple of them. Let's say I pick up one of the CloudFront distributions and I pick up one of the VPCs for the demo. I go ahead and click Add. Next, I'm prompted to choose how many city networks I want to monitor. So generally, if you're a large customer with a global traffic, you may want to choose somewhere up to 500,000 city networks. If you have small portion of traffic, you may want to choose a lower limit. And then you can always come back and edit these limits anytime. The Traffic Insights tab, which I'm going to show you next in the demo, it will show you how many city networks are currently being monitored in your traffic and what would it take to monitor 100% of your traffic. So let's say I want to monitor everything and I have a large global traffic. I go ahead, hit next, verify all the details, and click Create Monitor. As soon as I do this, my monitor is created. It takes about 10 minutes for Internet Monitor to determine your internet facing traffic and start publishing measurements specific for you.
So
So
yeah,
let's
Richie, I
say,
just got one quick question that came to mind. So I work with startups. So a lot of they were looking at when you were showing those options, I would imagine a startup who's probably going in here and they saw that okay, there's 50,000, 5,000, and they're probably thinking, okay, I mean, maybe I'm gonna get. I don't know how many people I'm gonna get. So maybe do you have an advice on someone who maybe they're not really sure how much I guess traffic they're going to get. I mean, maybe it'll be small, but they're just getting started.
yeah, that's an excellent question. So within Traffic Insights tab, once the monitor is set up, you have recommendations. So once the monitor is set up, it just takes about 10 minutes or so for measurements to be ready for you. And you can come here right into Traffic Insights and look at how many city networks would it take to monitor 100% of your traffic. So you can go back and very easily tweak the number of city ASN in the edit monitor setting. So you can choose how much you want to monitor, and you can always specify your monitoring limit. Great question.
Got it. Okay, and then same with one more quick question, then please continue. But going back to the number of networks, it sounds like from a best practice, you should maybe pick on the lower side. Like if you know, oh, I'm only testing with like a small launch to maybe only 1,000 people. Like you don't need to launch up to 50,000, or just curious if there's best practices around how to recommend people to best utilize internet
Yeah,
marketing.
there's always a trade-off between the insights that you get from these traffic and the value that you get from the insights with the outage and the benefits. So if you choose to monitor less percentage of your traffic, there is a chance that you may miss on the outage information, which in turn will not help you derive the full value from the product. So I think a little bit of this will get clear as we walk along the demo, so I can give a little more guidance around how to make the best choice on the best city networks. It's coming along in the demo.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. So now that I have set up the monitor, I'm going to pick up one of my preset monitors for this example. So I land on the overview page and I'm prompted with cool scores, availability score and performance score that Harbo was just mentioning a while back. So let's go here and choose 2 weeks. So you can view this information in UTC time zone, local time zone. You can choose absolute or relative time frames. You can take actions to download this information in different formats, CSV, JSON, view them in CloudWatch Matrix. So I see something is going on here on 22nd Feb time frame. So I see there is a drop below 95 percentage. Let's see what's going on here. I scroll down it and see that there are areas in Europe where there is some ongoing problem. I'm curious to understand what these locations are, what is the impact. I scroll down further and I see that there's a list of health events. So I see the list of impacted locations, client networks, service location, what's the impact on my traffic, and what's the reason behind it. So let's pick one. So I see that there's something going on in Berlin, Germany. So it looks like there is something going on with this particular ASN 1273. And the impact type of this issue is internet performance issue. And I'm curious to understand more about the problem, so I go and jump right into Historical Explorer. I want to slice and dice on this data. So let's say I choose city is Berlin, and let's put some more filters. I can put a filter, let's say, on country. I'll say country is Germany. And let's say I choose my AWS location. I choose this US East one. And I also put a filter on my network provider. And I say this is Vodafone. Let's see. So I can come here, pick the time selector. Let's go back to 2 weeks, hit and apply. As again, you can choose to view them in different time zones and take actions to download in different formats. So we'll scroll down. We can have a view of different types of matrix, availability score, performance score, bytes transferred, round trip time, and we can look at different percentiles, P50, P90, P95. So let's go up and see here what's going on with the performance scores. So it looks like around 22nd Feb, there is a dip in my performance score while the availability score seems to be good. I go down and further look at the round trip time. So I can see that the RTT has gone up. It's more than the usual. I can look at different percentile information to learn more. Um, Now that I understand that there is a problem, what can I do about this problem? So I'll jump to Traffic Insights tab. This tab gives me a quick overview of the overall traffic, and I can get a glimpse on my total monitored city networks. What would it take for me to monitor 100% of traffic? I can toggle between the two tabs, and I can get information around total city networks to choose here. I can also learn about my traffic pattern. I can sort my traffic on different parameters like total traffic in out, availability score, performance score. I can choose the right granularity, whether I want to look at a country level, at a city level, or at a metro subdivision level. I can very well choose to put them in a ascending or a descending order to understand the traffic patterns. um, I'm also curious to understand what kind of actions can I take to improve my end user experience. So here you can see, for example, with the Berlin, Germany example that we were just talking about, the service location is US East 1. I see my current time to first byte as 132 milliseconds. I see a recommendation that if you use a different region like EU Central 1, you could have a lower time to first byte, 47 millisecond. Similarly, I can also choose to look at CloudFront recommendations. If I were to use a different AWS service, what would be the benefit in my time to first byte? I can do that just by clicking on this toggle here, and I can look at different values. I can go ahead
Richie, that
and
was a question I was just about to ask you this. Does it give you recommendations for CloudFront? So perfect.
yeah.
I always have to pause right here because I get excited every time I see that screen. I don't know how many customers have asked, when I turn on CloudFront, how will I know what my performance improvement is going to be?
Yes.
We can finally show them. It's so exciting.
Yeah. So one of the things that prompted us to add this capability, we had often heard our customers tell us, do I look at a dashboard and feel sad and do nothing about it? So we don't want our customers to be sad. And this is why we came up with the insights and recommendations on different services or different regions that customers can use to improve the overall end experience. Okay, let's go to monitor details. So this is really a summary tab that tells you what are you monitoring and gives you some details around that. Next, I will go to CloudWatch log groups. So we do publish information for your top 500 city networks as part of CloudWatch log groups. So I'm going to put a filter on one of my monitors. Let's pick this one. Let's choose this log stream, one of these log streams. You can see information on your client location, which country, subdivision, metro city does it represent, what's the associated ASN, the network name. You can understand about the current experience. You can understand the current availability score, current performance score, look at RTT at different percentile. You can also...
Just to put a little bit of emphasis on what Richie is showing right here, that entire experience that she showed in the console is 100% driven by these log records here. And anyone who turns on their own monitor has direct access to all of the same data in their CloudWatch log groups.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can use the information on CloudWatch log groups. You can use it for integrating with your internal analytics system. You can also jump to CloudWatch Matrix, and let's do a filter here for Internet Monitor. We can
send it to a lake formation, send it to a data lake, and do some other stuff with it. Yeah, that's great.
Let's pick Internet Monitor on CloudWatch Matrix. Over here, you can see different measurements. You can pick up your city network traffic recommendations for different percentage of traffic. So let's say I pick this one. So now I understand that if I were to monitor 50% of my traffic, how would my city ASIN count look like? Similarly, for 100% of traffic, 25, 75, 99% traffic. Just like with any other CloudWatch metric, I can come here, set up alarms, and I can play with the data around. We also publish health events in the event bridge, so you can do integration with your existing ticketing or monitoring system. You can integrate with your Slack, with your PagerDuty. I also wanted to touch on the last bit around view AWS health dashboard. So let's say the root cause of the problem is identified to be on AWS. We will post information here that tells you what are the steps that AWS is taking to mitigate the problem. So overall, Internet Monitor is really a solution that is not really for large enterprise size business, but it's really something that can be used by anyone, whether you're a startup or a mid-sized business or anyone. Now, in case you're curious about how does the pricing info look like, and is it and what should be the right number of city ASINs, etc., to choose from, so I want to take you to the pricing page of Internet Monitor. So we have two pricing dimensions. One is monitored resource, the second one is monitored city network. So when you set up your monitor, you can choose to monitor VPC, CloudFront, or Workspace directory. So these are charged at the rate of $0.01 per monitored resource per hour. And the monitored city networks are the second dimension. So you're charged on that. For 10,000 monitored city networks per hour, it's 0.74. To get a sense of how much will be your estimated bill, you can go to the CloudWatch pricing calculator. And if you come down to the Internet Monitor section, let's try one example. So let's say I have one monitored resource and I want to monitor 50,000 city networks. So my estimated monthly bill will be around $2,700. Similarly, if you have large global footprint and you want to monitor, say, 500,000 city networks, this will be your estimated monthly bill. So you can really come and check it here. So there are no surprises, and you have all the knob to control your bill by adjusting the number of city networks.
And probably one clarification, that setting is an upper bound. You're actually only charged for the city networks that your application is actually serving.
Good call. This is, I think a lot of people are going to be really excited about this. I just already know from the customers that I talk to every single day. And I'm sure a lot of questions are going to be asked specifically on, okay, what do I do next when I get this information? When you were going about the traffic insights. And I know that could probably be a whole hour deep dive session. So where can people go if they want to be able to learn more about Internet Monitor and really best practices that they can use to start being able to leverage this in the best possible way?
Yeah, we have a couple of news blogs that we can that customers can leverage. The developer guide is a great starting point to learn about the product. We have a couple of YouTube explainer videos about the product further that gives you a quick 2-minute overview of how the product looks like.
That's
Fantastic.
great. So Harvey, Richie, any last thoughts before we end this segment?
It's simple, it's easy, give it a try.
It's a good one.
I like that.
I like it, Richie.
Yeah, Harvard, we'd like to thank your dog for making an appearance. And one of our co-hosts, AM, wanted to know if Internet Monitor can measure the latency of your dog's bark. So we'll have to get with AM offline. But
feature request.
Yeah, feature PFR. Cool.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Richie and Harva. This was a really fantastic session.
Yeah, thank you as well, Jillian. Thanks, Jeff.